What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Matthew and Carlene channel. Today we are going over all the reasons, well, from my experience, from my personal experience, of why so many men and droves have decided to opt out of Western dating and actively try to become passport bros. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, I can only advocate from my personal experience. I won't try to speak on other people on their behalf, but from my personal experience, because of the feminist movement, the local Western dating market was by far the worst thing I have ever tried to invest in my entire life. It was the absolute worst. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys. I will not lie to you here on this channel, but that's the honest God truth. But hey, since I promised you details, I'll go into details. First off, is that my experience on the local Western dating market is that I've seen so many women here in droves, not all, but the majority of them here in the West, constantly claiming they want gender equality. Yet, at the exact same time, have demonstrated they are 100% A-OK with their fellow women having a man declared guilty till proven innocent. Quite literally. Now, do I acknowledge that, like, hey, there are men out there who use women for their bodies? Of course there are. And I'm pretty sure a bunch of you women from overseas have realized the majority of those the majority of those men are sex tourists. But hey, at least those men are being honest about it. And those men are providing a basically a justified, valid reason that's backed up by doctors, which is finding a legal and low risk method to satisfying a biological need, aka sex. I doubt any women from overseas, like the Philippines, Thailand, Brazil, Colombia, have ever seen any of Western men use a biological need to violate a woman's constitutional right to due process and be innocent until proven guilty, and then cry victim about it literally the very next day, or say, hey, I'm only doing this to help you in something you literally never asked for. Like, you literally just never did. To make matters worse, from my experience, that I've seen, because of the feminist movement, I've seen a lot of women here in the West, not all, but a lot of them, flocking to Christian churches, claiming to be good-hearted Christians, yet at the exact same time, making it perfectly clear their only real reason to going to church is to fully embrace a historical chapter from Adolf Hitler and modify the Bible by taking everything the Bible says out of about women completely out of it, and so just and use it to villainize men and or justify the way how they treat men. Oh, by the way, going back to the sex part, in case you guys are women are wondering why is it that the Western man you're dating, your passport bro or your passport king, whatever you like to call him, has an above average sex drive, well, keep in mind you're choosing to date and enter a relationship with a man who, for the majority of his life, has had his biological need as used as a weapon against them. Where the men in your country, not so much. Now, getting back on track. Anyways, if you come to the West here, you move in with your passport bro here in the West, and you see lots of churches that are starting to look more and more like a sorority due to constantly increasing decline of male attendance. Well, I already gave you a reason. The reason why that is because is being overrun with women who are just modifying the Bible. They use it as a weapon against men. And now, the thing is, last time, as we all know, last time I checked, being born with a vagina does not make you the second coming of Jesus Christ, which a lot of women here in the West thinks it does. Well, but in all due honesty, not just that, but the majority of women here in the West, as a result of the feminist movement, don't really believe in Jesus either, or any religion at all. They may say they do, but their actions clearly say they don't. Because, hey, here in the West, because of the feminist movement, man holding woman accountable for anything is a sign of an evil patriarchal system that needs to be taken down. Which I think that's a horrible idea. I do. Because, after all, the only reason why women can say this here in the West is because men gave women everything. We gave women buildings. We gave women roads. We worked their sewer lines so they can have a toilet to poop in. I got news for all you ladies from overseas. If you see, you're not going to find that many women applying for these jobs at all. And what do we get in return? We get shamed. We get villainized. We get constantly told to do more and more and more and more. And we're not allowed to ask anything in return because, hey, asking for something in return is misogynistic. Yeah. Well, let me see what else is there. Yeah, and also, another thing you gotta understand with the men here in the West is that, oh, man, these women, majority of women here in the West, the majority of them, they keep constantly acting like, keep saying that they're strong and independent women who don't need no man. But when it comes to standing up to their fellow women, every time they're treating a man like unfairly or like just inappropriate behavior towards them, they end up going crickets and just say, hey, what did the man do to cause the women to treat him like this? Like, it's always the man's fault. All the time. And you know what? I might have been willing to look past all that. I might have been willing to look past it and give Western dating another shot. If, quite frankly, if it wasn't for all the constant whining, like literally. Because my experience when trying to invest in the Western dating market is that it was made perfectly clear to me time and time and time again that it doesn't matter what men do. It doesn't matter. It really does not matter at all. There will always be something for women here in the West to complain about. There always will be. That's usually the realization, aka the red pill moment that causes men to just opt out of it and try to find a wife from overseas. So for all you women out there who are dating passport bros, in case if you come to realize that like, hey, your passport bro or your passport king literally has zero tolerance for nonsense, and he also has zero to no problems with bluntly calling out people for unacceptable behavior, regardless of what the room is. Like, he has no real fears of doing that. Well, keep in mind, your passport king or your passport bro ladies, he went through a lot. He overcame a lot too. He honest to God did. And I'll be honest with you, from personal experience, when I left the local Western dating market and I started dating women from overseas, it was like a breath of fresh air. And honest to God was. I was like, there's a lot to be said for like dating a woman where she's not afraid to give you something in return. Where my biological need, sex, is not going to be used as a weapon against me. It won't. Another thing I want to point out about the local Western dating market that made it, by the way, the worst thing I've ever tried to invest in is that many times over, it's like trying to navigate through a landmine. Or a more accurate description is like being constantly on trial 24/7, where anything a man says can be used against him. Not just for that day, by the way, but for his entire life. This made the local Western dating market not really enjoyable, but just exhausting. Just completely exhausting. I'll be honest with you, as a man, if I were to get exhausted over anything, I would rather get exhausted over a video game. Like, hey, at least with a video game, you can turn it off. You can. The other thing that made local Western dating just the worst thing I've ever invested in is that even if a man does everything right, like he literally does everything right, he could still end up being screwed over by a woman, by that exact same woman. He can. Like a man could literally spend like thousands upon thousands of dollars trying to make this woman happy, and guess what? It's never happy. It's never going to be enough. And she expects us to just put up with this and just take it. Well, got news for you. A man, us, because of Passport Bros, we finally found the third option. We found the option to just leave and walk away, saying like, hey, we're not interested in a dating market where everything is 100% rigged against the guy. Like it literally is. Like all of it is just 100% rigged. Another thing that made the local Western dating market the worst thing I've ever tried to invest in is that, hey, if a man cheats on this girl, he gets lashed out of it. He gets called every single shame word in the book. But if a woman cheats on her man, oh, it's empowering. Like I can't tell the woman what to do. I cannot tell her to be faithful. That's literally what it is. The other thing that made the local Western day market the worst thing I've ever tried to invest in as a man is that whenever a woman is being abusive towards me or being abusive to any guy, guess what? We're supposed to just take it because if we report it, it does not get believed. It doesn't. And not only does not get believed, but if we make a complaint, it gets laughed at. We get called a wimp. We get told to, you should just be a man and stand and be a man up. I'm like, okay, I am not going to be a man up and just take a beating. I'm not. Literally. Well, vice versa, if a man were to ever lay his hands on a woman, even when it's a justifiable means of self-defense, would completely justify because the woman was the primary aggressor, the only thing that people really see is man hit a woman, and that's it. Even when there's an overwhelming amount of evidence that this woman was the primary aggressor, people don't want to see it. The only thing they're going to see is, hey, the man was the one at fault here. Quite literally. And once again, we're supposed to just take it. I'm like, okay, I'm not taking it. I'm just walking away. Another thing is that when we do walk away and we do become passport bros, you ladies from overseas are going to notice a pattern where the women get overwhelmingly upset and angry about this. And the reason why is, well, the funny thing about using a scapegoat is that even if it's cultural related, in this case, your scapegoat is just the entire male population of the West. Well, the more you use it, the more overly reliant, the more codependent you become to it. Quite literally. So, point is, as you women from overseas are probably noticing this with your passport bro, your passport king. The real reason why so many women here in the West hate the idea of passport bros is because they've been using men as a scapegoat for all their personal problems for so long, to the extent where they completely deprive themselves of any of the ability to live without it. which is the reason why a lot of you ladies from overseas are going to be noticing that, like, hey, a lot of women from the West here, because of the feminist movement, not all of them, but the majority of them, they're pretty much up in their eyeballs in debt that they're not going to get out of it. And they want men to save them from that. They really do, but the men are not coming. After all, because that's another thing about the reason why so many men, including myself, decide to become passport bros is because we get such a huge weight of expectations forcibly placed on us by women here. It's just so overwhelming. But when we decided to quit and leave and get away from overseas, it's a huge weight that's lifted off of our shoulders. Then, unfortunately, the women that we left behind here, they are forced to take on that weight themselves, even though they have no real experience with it at all. None. Anyways, that's pretty much all the reasons. Yeah. So, I hope this was enlightening to all of you guys. I hope it was. Because I'll be honest with you, I still damn well stand by what I said. That because of the feminist movement, from my experience, local Western dating was just the worst thing I ever tried to invest in. If I could do it all over again, I wouldn't even entertain the local Western dating market. I would put all my efforts into finding someone from overseas. I really would. Because you get a lot out of it. You get to experience multiple cultures. You get to see women who treat you right. You get many positive dating experiences. Where here in the West, hey, you can spend like a small fortune on a woman. The woman will just friend zone you in the end, and she'll have zero to no intentions on reimbursing you for it. So, doesn't matter which way I look at it. That deal that the local Western dating market is offering me, it sucks. It really does. Where the deal that the international dating market is offering us men is, by the way, a very good deal. Okay, I don't really have anything against women at all. I'm just saying I took a real good hard look at what the local Western dating market is offering, and I compared it to the international dating market. That's where I met Carlene, and I'm just taking the dating market that's giving us men the better offers. That's literally it. And that's the reason why I became a passport bro.